This is the Sports Hit List. By the fans, for the fans.
Raw on Netflix. There's a lot of matches that stand out, and I'm getting conflicting rumors because last night I was. Did you watch Raw? Right, you
I
caught
did.
it.
Yeah, I watched it.
So the promos leading up to it, Michael Cole is saying that CM Punk versus Seth is the main event, but then I'm reading other conflicting that's saying that the Tribal Combat versus Solo and Roman is the main event. You got two prime main events here. Which one actually main events? Is it a last minute call, or do we know which one is going to main event?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would have figured it would have been Roman versus Solo because that's your bread and butter for WWE. That's a 4-year long storyline. Seth and Punk, while it's very emotionally charged and everything, I didn't realize that would be the main event. I must have missed that on Raw last night. Because that's just starting, you know what I mean? And like CM Punk's always said, oh, you don't start with a cage match. So, you would figure that as the first match, they're going to do something that's going to advance their feud rather than have a definitive outcome in that match, where we've seen so much of Reigns and Solo that you would hope there was something more definitive there to that victory for either Reigns or Solo going into it. If they really are going to have Punk versus Rollins as the main event, then that makes me really feel that something screwy is going to happen in that Tribal Chief combat. You're going to see a Rock return, or someone's going to come out and maybe Hikuleo or one of the guys we haven't seen yet and do something to interfere in that match, which is why you wouldn't have it to be the main event. But even Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, that should have because those are the only 3 matches announced. That should have a turn to have its spot in the main event. I can see that going on in the main event. So you end the show with maybe a new champion. And Rhea Ripley. So any one of the 3 could. If you ask me what I would think personally, outside of what we've heard from WWE, I would say Seth and CM Punk, even though I'm a big CM Punk guy, would be kind of at the bottom of that order in terms of what I would put at the main event.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny because Michael Cole said it at the presser that they had.
Okay.
He said it, but then when you watch back after he said it, I went online and someone shared with me that the Tribal Combat is the main event. But then when I'm watching Raw, when they're showing the highlight package from the presser, Michael Cole is saying it again. So if that wasn't the main event, they would have cut it out, right?
Yeah.
But then so why are you saying it? So I mean, listen, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. But I
Mm-hmm.
do agree with you when it comes to a screwy finish. The Tribal Combat's got to go last, and because again, there's been a build up to it. You can't go wrong with either one, right? I don't think there's no wrong answer because I'm going to be tuned in regardless. But clearly, I think there's going to be something with The Rock in the Tribal Combat. I saw mixed reports about them releasing a Ulafala Championship belt. I think that's a little bit too much. But I will say though, there has to be a finish with. As much as I want Roman, the OTC, to win, I don't know if he's going to win. I'm a little nervous for him to regain his Ulafala back. I think there's got to be something where The Rock comes in and says, "I'm the true tribal chief," or "I've been behind Solo." Something is gonna happen. There's something there, and because the Bloodline story seems to be the story that never ends. You're just
Yeah.
gonna add another layer to it. I just don't know what that layer is.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why I'm saying, because it's whatever it's going to be big. Because either Roman Reigns defeats Solo, and that's kind of the end of this new bloodline. I can't imagine them rebuilding him back up again after he lost definitively at Survivor Series. I mean, he's pretty much lost every big match. He lost against Cody Rhodes. Solo, all he does is kind of, take that 3-second tan. So for me, what I could see happening is maybe The Rock comes in, cost Reigns the match, and then, maybe Solo even gives him the Ulafala, and then The Rock is now the tribal chief. Something like that. The Rock takes over and he's like, oh, you think you're the original? I'm the original. And he's got the People's Championships belt. Something like that could happen. There's a lot of different things where you could fantasy book. But looking from an outside perspective, there's a lot of room for anything to happen. I mean, even Paul Heyman, there's been kind of rumors and hints of him when he came out wearing the red that he might even, turn on Roman. I don't know if that'll happen, but with WWE, with Triple H, whatever they've been deciding to do, a lot of times they've been kind of coming out a little bit out of left field and surprising me in a good way that I wasn't ready for.
No, I agree. That's why I can't put my finger on it just yet.
Yeah.
I want to say I know what's gonna happen, but I really don't. We saw the CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I was surprised that they put this on the Netflix. I thought this was a WrestleMania main event kind of match, but maybe this may be the first installment. Are you satisfied with them putting this on Netflix first? I guess this is the first. If you're starting the feud, clearly it's not going to be over pretty soon. right?
Well, yeah, that's why I don't see it being the main event because if they are planning for this to be, a WrestleMania main event, which they might still be, I've actually heard something recently is on X. It might have just been a rumor that they're actually maybe switching gears and maybe doing CM Punk versus Reigns. I don't think that'll happen. That's just a rumor I read. But if you are sticking with him, if you watched any CM Punk interview, he likes to have his kind of feuds build. The same thing with Drew McIntyre. So the first Drew McIntyre CM Punk match was kind of lame at SummerSlam. It wasn't that good. The second one was a little bit better, and then the third one is all you're going to remember. Blew it out of the water, kind of like Triple H versus Batista in 2005. The first two no one remembers. Everyone remembers the Hell in the Cell. So for this Raw match, I figure that they're going to do something where maybe even accidentally something happens that just builds that fire, stokes that flame even further. Maybe some kind of accidental disqualification using weapons, something like that's gonna happen. Maybe CM Punk is too angry and just whacks him with a chair. I don't know what could happen because they're both kind of baby faces. I know Seth, they've been teasing a little bit. He's been understanding Drew's kind of where Drew's coming from, and they've kind of used that to tease Seth a little bit. And CM Punk always, I feel like no matter where CM Punk is, he could always turn heel at any second, and it works. He's always worked better as a heel. So they could do either one of that. They could have a heel turn from either one of those guys, and that be the big moment on Netflix. I just don't see this being a definitive match with a definitive ending, which is why I don't see it going on last.
So with that said, though, and I guess we can both agree, like this is just the beginning. Do we take it to WrestleMania in the main event? Because that's been the part of the conversation, which I know we'll get into later on as we get closer and closer to Mania. But that's been the conversation, is that Punk clearly has a stipulation that he gets his, main event moment, either night one and night two, but is it going to be for the world title? Because clearly Gunther is nowhere to be found right now. Like, he had his match and he's kind of just, like, he hasn't been on Raw. So what are we doing with Gunther in the World Heavyweight Championship? Does this feud end at WrestleMania? We're going to see this for the next, I guess, 4 months.
4 months, yeah. WrestleMania's not till April now. Yeah, I mean, we could. That's why it's interesting because you have a lot of different avenues you could take from this. I mean, even just looking at CM Punk, let's say he beats Seth Rollins and they end that feud early, and he doesn't win the Royal Rumble and he doesn't win at Elimination Chamber. Then he could call in that favor from Paul Heyman and say, "Hey, I get my title match versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania." If Roman somehow has the WWE title by that point, just fantasy booking. Or you could have it go a different way and have, maybe CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble and Seth Rollins beats Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. Maybe Goldberg comes in and interferes, and then you have Gunther versus Goldberg. Because I know Goldberg wants his one last match, Carl. You got to give the man his one last match. And I think that Gunther beating him.
We gotta
Gunther,
stop that.
Gunther beating, well, I think he's owed one last match in his contract. Isn't that? I think it's his contract.
Void it. I don't care. Void it. I'll pay you. I'll give. What do they do in the NBA or in pro sports? You do a buyout?
Yeah, like a buyout. Yeah, just we're paying you to sit on the bench. Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, get out of here. They buy you out, bro. We're all on the same page that I guess Raw on Netflix, Punk versus Seth. There's a no contest, no DQ part one, and we're gonna clearly get that story to go on and on and on. I guess we're in agreement with that.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. And then the last match, I think you already called your winner, that we know so far is Rhea versus Liv. And Liv has had a long title reign, by my surprise. She's done a great job, too. We clearly see her improving on the mic. She's had a long title reign, and you can kind of see Judgment Day is brewing to break up. They kind of, finish trying to stand out as his own, a little bit. And we kind of see them teetering a little bit. Does Liv finally lose to Rhea heading into, at this prime match on Netflix?
Well, I think that's what most likely will happen. I figure with the first Raw on Netflix, they're going to want some kind of title change. They're going to want something big to happen, and that is a big title change. With Ripley regaining her title that she lost because of injury, beating Liv Morgan. But also, I do feel like, even though it has been announced, we're going to have the Women's Intercontinental Title finals on that Raw Netflix. There's only 3 matches announced. There's going to be more matches, coming. Which early callings that Io Sky wins the Io Continental Championship. But if we look at that, I mean, I think the smart money is on Rhea Ripley. But man, I've been really big fan of Liv Morgan in this title reign. I think she's really her first title reign was the kind of title reign they'll give to anyone once. They tried it out with Jack Swagger. It didn't work. He never was champion again. They could try it out with I'm not sure. Everyone else's name is escaping me. I don't know why Jack Swagger came to mind. But Liv getting the second title reign proved that she is main event material, and she will remain in the main event for the rest of her time in WWE. And I really would like to see Liv hold on to her title. I've liked the stuff with her and Dom. I think you could still kind of bring that out a little more. Although I do feel like, especially with the way Priest manhandled them last night on Raw, just kind of foiled everything they tried to do. The Judgment Day is coming to an end with the whole follow Finn and you win, and then he never wins. So I think it makes sense with everything they've been booking for Rhea Ripley to win. But I think it could be intriguing to see Liv win and kind of see her kind of continue this championship reign that was never meant to be, that she's made so much out of. But that's why we watch to see. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Carl?
Well, I think this feud is kind of coming to an end. We're going on almost a year of this feud, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's been going on since post WrestleMania, when Rhea originally got, I think, hurt by Liv. Liv was getting hurt, started her revenge tour. It was about April, May when that started.
Sure.
So
yeah.
we're approaching almost like 10 months to a year on that feud. This is going to be the culmination of it. Rhea finally gets her quote unquote, like we like to say in the streets, her lick back, and then that's it, right? We move on. So I think it ends there, but then that's when we start to see the divides in the Judgment Day. But then again, it questions, what does Liv do going into WrestleMania season? That's where, for me, it's a matter of Liv loses, her title reign is over. Now you get, again, we've noticed once you lose the title, you get put back into the mid card. Does she go now after the Intercontinental Championship? Does she go to the Tag Championship? That's where the question is, and who goes to face Rhea at WrestleMania? Do we see Becky Lynch and we see a part 2 again? But that'll make it really interesting. We're excited for Netflix to begin the year, January 6th. Make sure you tune in. Like, share, comment, subscribe to all Hit List content. We're going to be starting our own road to WrestleMania. Look out for more content from TK and I, building up the Hit List Wrestling division. TK, always a pleasure, man. We'll tape another show soon, man. Love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Carl. Love you too.
Thanks for watching the Sports Hit List. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In fact, do it now.